Alright, today I believe is April 6th. I haven't got a whole lot more accomplished, but I want to show you a couple things here. Here's the first 2x6 steeler that I put on. And you can see it starts at the full width here of the board, and it tapers along its 20-foot length down to 3.5 inches where it meets this 2x4. There's another 20-foot 2x4 running back to here, and then there's a short one in there. Now this last 2x4 that goes to the end of the boat is also tapered, because I got a lot of reduction to get to. And you can see what I had to do to get this one bent onto the end here. I should have left that 2x4 longer so I had some leverage on it. But if you look inside here, I just left a little stub up there. And that wasn't enough to get decent leverage on. Couldn't get clamps on there. So I wound up putting a 2x4, clamping a 2x4 over top of it, and then running a winch cable, well, and this is a strap winch across to the other side to bend that the inside board up against. And then I of course put glue in there, epoxy, thickened epoxy in there to hold it in. And I probably still didn't get it just completely tight up against the transom there, but with that filled epoxy is going to be strong enough, then I can just plane it down to, which the whole thing is going to need to be planed to a certain extent anyway. So yeah, hopefully that works all right. But the 2x4 I've got that I'm using as the as the lever to pull that end in is a Douglas fir 2x4. I started out with just a regular construction grade, fir 2x4, and you can see there it didn't work. It cracked. And the Douglas fir 2x4 is bending on there just fine. So the difference between Douglas fir and just pine, I suppose that is, it's a good indication there. So I need to keep on working here, but like I said, I want to get at some point, at least here in the very near future, I want to get my raised shear established, and I got the first two completely planed all the way up to the top to match the contour of the boat. Got that bevel established. It's not a lot of fun doing that. It's really messy, as you can see by all the all the shavings down here. Primarily I'm just using a planer, and I've got that rasp on my DeWalt there, my grinder, that I use for touching up spots that I can't reach with the planer. But yeah, it's going all right. It's just not a lot of fun to do. And I also ordered some more planking material, and I ordered 2x8s, I think it was. I was thinking about 2x10s, but 2x10s probably would have been better, but I don't know. I think I went with 2x8s. Anyway, they should be in a few days, and that'll give me a little larger pieces to. I don't have a lot of curve here, so it's not that difficult to get these bent on, at least back, from the bow to 2/3 of the way back. You start getting back here and you wouldn't be able to bend 2x8s or whatever on there, but as I go, I'm going to take this bend is going to start coming out. It's going to flatten out, and then it's going to actually start sweeping up forward. As I get thicker planks, thicker wedges in there, it's going to start sweeping up a little bit, so we'll get a little bit of this number going, and hopefully I can manage that just by spacing out the planking material as I put it on. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, but I don't expect any huge problems there. I'll probably put a couple more planks on here before that big stuff gets in. I got a 6-inch on the starboard side here, and I don't have anything on the, just this first 2x4 on the chine, but I'll probably get a 6-inch on here to do the same thing on this side, and then I'll wait with until I get my thicker planking stock to work up here, because I'll definitely need that up here. Need to cover as much ground as quickly as I can. And this epoxy that I was talking about that was kind of tacky and sticky, it does appear to have more or less set up. That was the liquid phase of it. The stuff that was thickened set up just fine, and even the liquid stuff now is firming up. So whatever that was, I don't know. If you get a big drop of it, it's still a little tacky, but it's firmed up anyway. But like I said, it doesn't really matter anyway, because the thickened epoxy was fine. Yeah, and it's all screwed on too. Oh, and that's another thing too. I decided, yeah, I'm not gonna glue these on. Not gonna glue the planking on for the most part. I put some glue back here. Kind of had to, but anyway, I'm not gonna. I didn't glue this piece on. This is just screwed on. And the reason for that, well, George never indicated that they needed to be glued on in the first place. I thought, well, it would make the hull stronger if they're glued on, but you know, once that plywood gets supplied over here, it's going to be glued onto that too, and that's going to kind of make this all one big surface. And with all these screws in there, I don't see that that's really going to be an issue. And George also talked about what you should do, you know, between these surfaces. And he's between the inside of the planking and the frames, and he said you can put bedding compound on there if you want, but he never bothered. He just put the water resistant naphthalate on there, and which is what I'm doing too. Then he was a big proponent of not painting the inside surfaces of the planking and the frames and whatnot, just putting the preservative on there. And I've read other people's accounts of that, or what they thought was best too. And I mean, I've got books from surveyors and other builders and whatnot, and they kind of indicated that it was 6 of one and a half dozen the other. You know, he's seen boats that were painted that rotted, and boats that weren't painted that were rotted. And the other way also, of course, vice versa. So it kind of indicated to me that it doesn't really matter one way or the other. And if it doesn't really matter, then I'm probably better off just not. I mean, there may be some cases where I have exposed planking inside the boat, you know, in frames, and then I'm going to want to paint some areas, and that's fine. This stuff seems to you can paint over this stuff after it's thoroughly dried, and it doesn't really, and glue it too, so it doesn't really seem to be an issue there. If you want to paint, you can, but get the preservative on first and then go from there. So yeah, got more wood on the way. Yeah, expensive wood. All right, that'll be it for today.